Achieng, and welcome to my YouTube channel. On today's show, I have Miss Jane Achieng, and we will be talking about the evolution of content creation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Enjoy. The mid-morning show. I'm your host, Daisy Atino, and I'm here with my lovely guest who I will let introduce herself.
Hi Daisy, thank you so much for having me on your show.
You are very welcome.
My name is Jane,
Okay.
Jane Achieng.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm supposed to give my bio.
A short bio. Just a very mini short bio would do.
Okay, a lover of life. I think
Okay.
a lot of the times when you start introducing ourselves, start with our careers.
Yeah.
So a lover of life.
Okay.
My training is in environmental science.
Yeah.
But I have a startup with a few friends of mine called the Debate Circle.
Okay.
That's centered on content towards an informed citizenry.
Yeah.
So it's the reason why you have me on your show today.
I'm excited. Just in case, you should check out the Debate Circle on YouTube. And yeah, I think it's YouTube. That's the biggest platform you guys have right now.
Yeah, YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah, the Debate Circle on YouTube and Instagram. So I would just like to know, how did you get into the content creation game?
So
Because of this whole background in environmental science.
It just happened. I don't
Yeah.
even know how to explain it, but
Yeah.
I don't have a go-to on how it started, because I remember what happened was we used to do debates in
Yeah.
high school with my friends for the longest.
Yeah.
And then after doing debates for so long, my friend Bill reached out and he was like, hey, I want to start this show.
Yeah.
It's called the Debate Circle. We're doing the first live event.
Yeah.
Come through and see. And I remember the first time I was skeptical because we had worked on so many projects before. I told him, Bill,
Yeah.
if I make no money, please don't call me.
yeah. There's also that whole
There's
thing.
also that whole money aspect.
Yeah.
And then eventually I went to the first episode.
Yeah.
It was nice. I really loved the concept of it.
Yeah.
And then kind of just picked up from there.
That's interesting, just
Yes.
like that.
Just like that. I was actually telling you, we didn't have a trial phase.
Yeah,
Let's
you
try
just
and
went
see.
into it,
We
you
just
know?
started and hit the ball running.
So how long ago was this?
This was in 2020.
So
So the first event was in 2020 March.
yeah.
That's when we did our first live event.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So we went on we couldn't do live events anymore.
Yeah.
So we started doing virtual events. We did debates.
Yeah.
Then we started doing conversations.
Yeah.
Then we went back to studio
Yeah.
and started shooting in studio. Then we started inviting people to studio.
Like it was a whole thing.
It was like a whole thing, like the whole shabam.
Okay. So basically you have been in the content creation games for 2 years now?
Yes, 2 years now.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
So what would you say is like your content creation strategy thought process, let's say?
So
Especially when it comes to the debate circle and anything else that you're involved in.
So, for the longest, we have platforms for every other kind of conversation. You have cooking shows,
Yeah.
but maybe so
True.
untrue.
Yeah.
That's where people gravitate to.
Yeah.
So we thought, how about we create a platform where we can inform citizens on things that actually matter?
Okay.
Your taxation,
Yeah.
business.
With Masharia, was it?
Yes, in Njuguna
And
Macharia.
actually, I didn't even know half of the things you guys are talking about, but I was able to be informed because the line of questioning and the line of answering is so simple to follow. Like, even though you don't know what's really happening, like, you can actually pick up.
Yes.
And I think that's something very special about what the debate circle is trying to do.
I think even when we prepare for conversations, when we do research,
Yeah.
you have your audience in mind. You're
Yeah.
like, I'm penetrating young people.
Yeah.
So how can I make them interested? You
Yeah.
know, if I talk about Lil Minor, everyone is excited to talk about that.
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
can I get this 18, 25, 24-year-old
Yeah.
to start thinking, oh, what does the taxation bill say?
Right?
What does cancel culture talk about?
Yeah.
So you have to find language that is attractive to them, but more so, can you get other young people
Yeah.
to have those conversations?
That's
Because the
true.
problem happens is when you have older people, they come with that tone. So
They do. It's
already
boring.
you're
The-
tired.
the grammar
the grammar that's being used.
The English is so heavy. You don't
Yeah.
even know what they mean
Before
by
I started
one
making content, a lot of music, travel videos,
Yeah.
cooking shows. So when I started making content for the debate circle,
Yeah.
it meant I started consuming more political information,
Yeah.
business information,
Yeah.
architectural. Like I started diversifying, and also I wanted to find a way of how to relate with them, because I already come from a very science heavy background, things environment, things of that nature. So having a middle ground to understand is watching everyday people talk about how they voted, and what informed how they voted, and whether we want to agree with it or not. Voting is very important, especially for young people. So what changed in my content consumption is being more intentional on who was I listening to. Was their information correct? Are their perceptions and analogies true? You know, do they have biases in their conversation?
You're not just taking in all sorts, especially when it comes to Twitter. I found the best thing that happened to me was when I started to curate my feed. I started to make sure that the people I followed, you know, were not just random people, because there's that time when we first joined Twitter, you follow like 1,000 people. The information hits you from all sides, but now you follow like 500 people, and it's better. Because these are 500 people that add to you, they bring value to you, they don't share fake news, let's say, or propaganda, you know.
True.
I think that's very important. And then let's say in this whole 2-year journey so far, you know, baby stages, but like, what would you say has been the highlight of like what's like the one thing that happened, maybe the one moment, something that happened over like these last 2 years that just had you feeling like, you know what, entering this content creation game was really worth it, and I can't wait to see, you know, what more I can do.
I think what happened that kind of shook us, or let me say for me, let me not speak for my colleagues, is when people would DM us that they wanted to work for a debate circle. And I knew we were doing something right. Because we get so many DMs for how can I be part of research? How can I use my voice? How can I contribute to this thing?
Like, how can I give to this?
How can I give to this? And now it started to become a challenge because, you know, we're in studio, we have a limited number. So you can't bring all these people. So I think also that informed on how in 2022 we wanted to take these conversations to people. So we've been doing a series known as Unicast series, where we go to universities. Like this afternoon we'll be in UN Parklands. This morning they've been in KU Parklands. So
what happens at these Unicast?
So we have conversations. Sometimes they may structure in a short debate, but then a lot of the times it's just conversations like on a topic. We've really been focusing on civic education, and it's not the civic education for I want you to vote for person A or person B. It's, as a young person, what would you want your leader to stand for you to feel like you're compelled to vote for them? Are you interested enough to understand what policies or legislations that are being channeled for your country, for you? Also, you get people that now start asking questions like, hey, I'm in the creative space, you know, could you help me, maybe plug me with how can I understand what's the legal aspect of being in the creative space, or what's the monetization area? So it's really opened up to so many other things that when you started, because when it started it was just, Bill, I don't make money, don't call me.
And now it has expanded beyond that. The impact is starting to really, really mean more than just
how can we make money out of this. It started being practical in how it's influencing other people.
I think that's important. And there's something you mentioned about conversations. We have seen like a huge uptake in these conversations happening. Even with like the older generation, there's a lot of conversations happening. You know, you'll just be online, you see a symposium happening. Let's be talking about this. What do you think brought this about? You know, we are talking a lot of late. Actually, I think over the last 5 years, we are talking, we are expressing, we are having conversations in all spaces, by the way, in all like cultural, social, political, there's conversations happening, you know?
I would say, like right now, a lot of kids want to be YouTubers. No one wants to be a doctor. Please be a doctor if you want to be a doctor.
If you want
but
to.
like the switch one is because technology has allowed it. Like nowadays, for your voice to be heard, your version of things to be expressed, you don't need to have a TV interview. You know, you just need to have your phone and your platform, and you can get this information out there. And I think also throughout the years we've seen the need for that other story, because what mainstream media over time has been doing, and not all mainstream media,
but majority of them,
majority of the times, it's the dominant story that you get to hear.
It always was for a very long time.
So content has allowed people to bring the other stories that we don't get to see in the limelight.
I think that's important. So back to the topic of today, which is basically the evolution of content creation. Jane, I just want to know, for people out there who keep hearing the word content creation, what exactly is it? In like the simplest and most brief term, what is content creation?
So I'm going to start with content first.
Yeah.
So every time you have audiovisual content, audiovisual things you shoot, whether it's a video of you cooking, it's a video of your kids reviewing toys, you doing a political piece, doing music, training, teaching people stuff. Audio, if you on a podcast space, recording, that basically is content. Even what you're doing here on radio is content.
Okay.
So on the creation bit, it takes different shapes and forms. It could be audiovisual. Sometimes it's, I think I call it ASMR, where people are just film funny stuff that people are into, and there's no sound, there's nothing, you just watch it. It's satisfying. So I guess the creation space really depends on whatever creative niche you want to explore, whether you just want to do plain videos or you want to get creative, like you know, if you want to shoot something in a cinematographic way. So I guess that's what content creation is about.
Would you consider people who write content creators?
Yes. Oh my god, how did I forget that? Yes, people who write also in content, whether it's blogs, whether it's articles, books, things of that nature.
That's also content creation.
That's also content creation.
So it's basically videos, it's photos, it's writing, it's sound.
Hey, now you're even expanding the list. I just focused on audiovisual. The scope is so wide.
And your creation process is basically up to you.
It's up to you how you choose to create.
I actually did a search and I found out that one of the most searched questions on Google is how to become a content creator. Why do you think that picked up of late? You know, because before it used to be like, how can I be a doctor? How can I be a lawyer? One of the most such questions is how to be a content creator. YouTube is just brimming with content up to here. You know, there's more content. Actually, we have seen more content creation platforms come up. More than just consuming, Yeah.
I think what content has allowed people to do, one is really express themselves.
Yeah.
Because as we said, like in the previous segment, like a lot of people don't get the chance to be their authentic self.
Yeah.
So content creation platforms allow people to express themselves.
Yeah.
Two, it's proving to be very lucrative.
Very.
We have 8-year-olds with a net salary of like $2 million a year. Your job could probably never pay you that in 10 years.
Yeah.
So like, people are seeing that the potential of this is so big, and even beyond the payment and the expression, there's also causes that people stand for that content creation is allowing them to take up for. Because if you think about it, we would have never experienced Black Lives Matter in 2022 if it wasn't for the digital platforms.
Yeah,
you know, mainstream media would have just played it down. But because of the content space, we get to see movements that, you know, really champion for these things. Climate change would still have been a propaganda if it wasn't for content creators and activists using their digital platforms to talk about this.
I think that's very important. I think in journalism, it's basically termed as citizen journalism. I think what content creation also allowed was the emergence of citizen journalism, where, yes, let's say an accident happened, right? And usually you have to wait for a reporter to get on the scene and, you know, write down. But then there is someone filming it as it's happening, and then they just upload it on Instagram or on Twitter or on Facebook, and then people... Maybe that part would have never been covered by the newspaper, but now people have like, oh my goodness, someone actually filmed the whole thing as it happened.
Yeah.
So I think that's also one of the things that I would say has changed the game. Moving on, content has definitely evolved from buying and selling, and it's now adding value to lives. For example, you know, we have seen with podcasts, YouTube, we have Clubhouse that came through during COVID, we have... Even Twitter itself, you know, people are making Twitter threads now, you know, and it's so interesting. Like, you could read a thread and your life is changing. You're like, wow,
you know.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think and just basically, how do you think content moved from just being a buying and selling thing to adding value to people's lives?
Because you have to think of how can you do this sustainably.
Yeah.
You know, when Instagram started, the ones who used the first Instagram, it was exciting to see photos.
Yeah.
You know, like now everyone could show you all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then over time, like, you've seen enough photos. There's really nothing much new you could see. It was like, okay, guys, we get it.
We get it.
I know you have an awesome life.
Yeah.
So now people started looking for more, and it's not just on Instagram. It's on all these platforms. You know, how can I come to your platform and live better.
Yeah.
Like it became more conscious consumerism, because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to be on your show for 1 hour just watching random stuff.
Yeah.
So now it needed that if you are going to do content creation, you have to come with some level of value. If you're
Yeah.
going to teach people how to cook, if you're going to teach people how to speak French,
Yeah.
if you know, all these
True.
things, like,
And YouTube has like
Yeah.
a mass library
mass
of all
mass
these
library
things.
of all these things. So,
Actually, what you're speaking about adding value, I don't know if you've seen the beauty influencers on YouTube, like the makeup people. We have, let's say, is it called James Charles? Well, one of those guys who are very, very popular, who have like 10 million views. I actually noticed that, you know how the whole makeup craze came up and girls were showing you how to do the eyebrow tutorial? Remember?
well, I still don't know how to do my eyebrows. But
It's gonna take more than a video,
It's
guys.
gonna take more than a video for this.
But you saw how all that came up. I noticed that the people who really, really went far with their makeup videos had to incorporate an aspect of personality to everything.
Yes.
You know, we needed more than just.
Because think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, how many makeup videos are you gonna do?
honestly, how many times are you?
I mean, how many times are you gonna show me how to draw my eyebrows?
Yeah.
I got it the first time. You know, you don't need to do it the 10th time.
Yeah.
Over time, you needed to bring creative ways.
Yeah.
Is how can people buy into who you are, your personality, and things of that nature. It couldn't just be about the makeup, you know? Or sometimes into there are people that, you know, breaking societal standards of beauty. So it's like, maybe I'm gonna show you this is how makeup actually looks like.
Yeah, people.
You know, there was the whole wave of, you know, face bit, lighting, looking all
and
good.
then the natural thing came back
And
again.
then the natural thing came back. You know, it's all about the minimalistic
Yeah.
makeup, looking good.
Yeah.
And then we moved to your natural skin is okay.
Natural hair,
Natural hair, come
products.
see too, you know?
Yeah, it's actually been a very interesting journey. And I
has.
think, like what we were speaking about off air, mainstream media does not give people the opportunity to not only create such content, but to even watch it. Where on mainstream media are you going to find like a natural hair influencer showing you how to make like the bantu knot? You're not gonna find that. That's like a waste of time to them. Like, you know, advertisers want shows that like.
Well, I wouldn't also blame it so much on mainstream media, because it's also a business.
Yeah.
So there's a target audience for it and things of that nature. So maybe it wasn't appealing to their business model, which is allowed.
Yeah.
But now we have all these digital platforms.
But
where
hasn't the fact that these things blow up on YouTube prove that it actually does appeal to people?
Yeah, but there's an experimentation of all these things. Maybe it blew up on YouTube and may probably not blow up on TV, because on TV you have to schedule it. Like, are you going to put it on prime time? Is it going to be on midday?
Yeah.
Which is different now for digital platforms. That's why you see even mainstream media are trying to make digital content.
Yeah.
Because people want to access content on the go, short clips, fast to the point,
Right,
anytime they want to.
Yeah.
Like, long are the days where I want to watch Heroes and I have to wait KTN up at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you know, if you miss it or if the lights go
That's
out,
it.
you have to wait till next Tuesday.
And now you could just watch the whole season.
Yeah, now you could binge the whole thing.
Actually,
one night.
for me, it's mostly like the soap operas that like NTV and the likes used to bring. I can't believe we would actually wait till 8.
6
or
the next
6.
day.
Why?
You'll be there on
Oh
time.
my goodness! And
Storm
now when
of
you go on
Paradise.
YouTube, exactly.
Please, tap
when you
in.
second chance, you go on YouTube, the whole season is right there. And
right
I'm
there
like,
with you.
Yeah, and that's how they kept us glued to the screens. By the way, that was smart.
That was a smart way of doing it, but then now people have moved beyond that. Like, people want to be able to access information anytime they want to, and wherever they want to.
So some of the things that I found out about how basically the content creation landscape is changing from like 2020, 2021, and basically into the future. One of the ways, and I think we're going to just be talking about this, one of the ways I found that the content evolved is people started wanting clutter-free content. You know, users, you know how you go on Instagram and you just find a whole lot of information, ads are coming at you from all ways. We started realizing that people just wanted clutter-free content. They want a whole minimalistic vibe. Even influencers change their feeds. It's no longer crowded. You know, it's like calm post all over. Why do you think that is? Is it like a psychological thing, or is it that we got bombarded with so much information and people just got tired? We're like, no, it's
First
done.
of all, I think that's a really good question.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. Even if you look at it from like the visual aspect of it, it's exhausting to consume so many of all these things.
Yeah.
So the need for specific content or a target niche just kind of evolved with the space.
Yeah.
I mean, fine, you have kids. You want to show us about your husband. You want to show us about
I'm
your
exhausted
life.
just listening to
you
what
want
you're
to show me how to
describing.
clean your house. Like, it's a bit of too much from one person. But there are people that do that and it works for them. It just depends with how you find your balance.
Yeah.
But clutter-free is time. Time is of the essence.
I
don't want to struggle figuring out, okay, so what are we doing in this video?
It's like, this is not a movie, yo.
Yeah,
this
like,
is not
exactly.
A movie.
I'm not trying to get the plot twist. Like, can we get to it?
Actually, what she is describing is me right now. I'm sorry, but when I'm on TikTok right now, if you don't get to the point in the first 3 seconds of your video,
but you see,
I'm
get
out.
these people who do like part 1 to part 16, and I'm like,
count
bro,
me out. 0. Leave
can
me
we?
out.
The first 2 videos were enough, you know. So
then there's also this thing on like. This is actually a very big deal because it's something I experienced, right? There's this thing like when something happens on like Twitter, for example, someone posts a video and it's trending. I promise you, I have been to the comment section where someone has said, I can't watch this whole video. Someone please just give me the summary. And I'm like, oh my god!
Even before you ask for it, like I've gone to YouTube videos that are like 1 hour long, and then someone is like, "Okay, for the rest of you that don't have time, this is what happened. This is what happened."
And then they have the time codes, like you can just skip like
go to minutes 9.13.
So is it like time
is of the essence?
We are consuming a lot of information.
We are consuming a lot. Time is of the essence. There's so many, and also no one is as interesting as yourself. That's the one thing celebs or these people keep forgetting.
Yeah.
There is this idea of having parasocial relationships in the content space, in the sense that you think that your followers care that much about you. I mean, yes, we do have cycles that care that much, but also you are only as interesting as I have deemed you. So sometimes people tend to overshare on these spaces, thinking that we will develop some level of attachment to it. But if you really look at it, I mean, I saw your drama with your boyfriend, but like 2 minutes later, it's like I forgot about it.
Because I have personal drama
because you also
going
have personal drama going on.
Well, moving on, something else that I noticed about how this landscape of content creation has been changing over the years is the ability to monetize on the platform. Personally, I think money entering the content creation game changed it. Subscription services just changed the game. It allowed creators to not only be able to put out content that, has value, content that they can stand behind, but it also just, became this huge competition with like advertisers and everything. So it's like, if you have a product here, would you want to put it on a billboard? Would you want to take it to radio? Would you want to take it to TV? Or would you just give it to Jane?
And then, Jane will find you like a target niche and you will be fine.
Exactly. On Jane's Instagram and TikTok, she could like really push. So I think the ability to monetize is one of the things that we should talk about and how that changed the whole landscape.
So let me take us a few years back to have platforms to express this.
We can't forget tech.
Tech is like one of the biggest disruptors of that whole media space. So monetization became key, and it also became a motivation. Because I mean, I don't want to be a photographer for 13 years, and I'm still living in my mom's backyard. I want to.
I know it's a passion, but I actually want to make money
you want to make money from it because you need to survive.
Yeah,
so
you need to survive.
Being able to monetize has really been crucial. And also, like, even aside from being able to, it became something that parents now started embracing. Like, it's like, okay,
before it was like, ooh, photographer.
Kidogo, because I was listening to Bian speaking at an Engage talk, and he was saying how now parents would walk up to him and be like, you've really inspired me, now I can let my kids pursue music because I see, there's actually a future out of it. But I think also, like, in the African space, we kind of also need to evolve a bit.
We have to do a lot of work.
A lot of work in terms of how we, just create the platforms, pay your creators. I mean, pay them.
This paying.
I've made your reels. Send me my check.
This thing of I'm gonna pay you in exposure.
It doesn't really make sense.
The platform is just pay them.
Pay them.
I spent time editing the whole reel for you. I think honest, and also there's the subscription services. YouTube has one. You could subscribe to. There's some type of monetization thing that goes with YouTube. There's there's websites like Patreon where people put
Yeah,
on,
I mean, if I really like what you're doing,
Clubhouse,
I'm gonna support
Twitter
you.
has introduced a payment thing where
Yeah.
if you want to create a space but you want people to pay to listen to the space, like it's actually changing the game.
Because think about it, maybe before we never used to look at creative spaces as value.
True.
But to come on this show, Daisy has done her research and has said questions.
Yeah.
I also didn't just come here with vibes and inshallah.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I want to tell the people that are listening to Daisy? So now this becomes value that you're giving people.
Yeah.
And you should definitely be able to make money out of it.
True.
But also, I think maybe as we're continuing, we should also talk of how when we introduce monetization, we change the whole playing field.
Actually, we're about to go for a break, but let's just talk about that. The thing about like media is like a double-edged sword. Like you have to be very careful, because the one thing that would come at you and it would look like it's a good thing could actually be the undoing.
Yes.
We have seen, even this has happened with like music. We have seen when the idea of money enters, it actually directly affects the amount of creativity that starts coming out. Because now you want to make money, you're going to start creating videos that are less valuable but they're more entertaining.
Yes.
I think you've seen this too.
Yes. So you have built your masses over time.
Yeah.
Then you get to a place now you're in stagnation.
Yeah.
You're not really growing. Brands are not thinking of you so much. You have new young faces that are coming to the table.
Yeah.
So you're no longer as relevant.
Yeah.
So how do you stay relevant? Let me do one dramatic public stunt, crazy things. And then now you boost traffic. Now the problem with that is in the long run, it's not sustainable for you as a brand and also for your mental health, because showing up as a fake version of you is something that you should never have to do for money.
True.
So I think the challenge comes even from a creative space is how do you stay relevant?
I think that
and also I think if you're going to base your monetary success out of staying relevant, you will get tired. Because I feel for a lot of the creatives I've met, if it is something that truly is at the core of what you enjoy doing it, you do it.
It doesn't matter.
Seasons change, but it's still at the core of who you are. So you keep doing it, you keep pursuing it. But then when you start doing it for money, even your creative process changes. You're like, okay, so which target group is trending? You've said it's gay people. No, you've said it's black people. Okay, no,
so
whites are back on trend. So we need to do something for white people. We need to do something for black people. Oh no, I have people going back to the diaspora. Let's make content for going back to Africa.
Jumping on trends and
jumping on trends, and then you realize you lose your relevance.
For let me use the Over 25 channel as an example.
Please don't quote me on this.
No, do not quote any of us on anything, But like, seriously, do you think they have managed to just stay true to their purpose, from when they started? Because now they're big, they're like a very big brand, they get brand endorsements. Do you think they have managed to stay true to that, or?
So I can speak for Ivy, Jules, Shiki, and Lonzi.
Yeah.
But as someone who's grown up like watching them over the years, they have really truly stayed true to the core of what they used to do. Maybe it's evolved over time.
Evolving is good.
But they really have stayed true to like what are the lives of women going through their 20s. This is how it looked like when we were 24. You'd probably club till you drop dead, but when you're 30 and you have kids, that's no longer a priority. So I think at the core of it, they've really stayed true, and like the channel has grown with their personal lives. We saw them from being single to getting married to leaving jobs and moving into content space to even their friendships growing and it's always beautiful when you see such journeys.
It always
because then now there's context for young people that want to come into the content space. How do they do that? How do they transition from starting to this could actually grow into something else?
So something else that I noticed is something else that I noticed with the content creation space, I've seen it has moved away from serving advertisers to serving the consumers. What do I mean? We have seen ads that are less about the advertisers themselves but are more about you. We see ads that have human interest stories. We see ads that are trying to get the emotion out of you, Leave the TV ads that are just, buy this. When it comes to the content platform, if you have been keen enough, you have noticed the ads have stopped being very out there, like I'm selling, it's more you best, and then we're selling this, you know.
Yeah, we live in the age of information.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to relate to the product, to the brand.
Yeah.
So your brand cannot just be about what you're selling anymore. It's the experience associated with what you're selling.
Yeah.
So Nike isn't going to do a whole sports campaign because
this is our new shoe.
They'll
They'll show a man running. They'll show him the motivation.
Because
it's like storytelling.
Yeah, it's like storytelling. Which storytelling is the new way for advertising.
I think that's
where
really
the merge between content creation and businesses comes in, because I'm really not gonna buy Nikes because I'm not really a big Nike fan.
Yeah.
But if I saw the one Eliud used and how I associated
and how they told that story of how he won,
heroism and nationalism with it, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna support that brand. I'm gonna buy those shoes because then now you start seeing people associating value with brands that care about their stories. But there is a tricky slope with that also, because a lot of people also are not necessarily doing this because they care that much. It's also because it's a PR thing now. So like now black people were trending. It's nice to be trending for once, you know? So every marketing department is, how can we target black people? So you're gonna get more black creators. And I know someone is gonna argue that, so what do you want? When we pick you guys, you complain. And when we don't pick you, now you complain. So I'm not really complaining. I'm just, as a conscious consumer, I would love people to really take time to understand, does this brand actually represent the values that I stand for? So sometimes you get people saying that, hey, some of these brands are running sweatshops, but we still buy their stuff. And I'm like, do they really value our experiences the way we say? Or sometimes you hear they are discriminatory, maybe against
at their workplaces. Like Amazon has had a lot of those cases.
And then you're like, okay, but with things like Amazon, man, I really think I'm gonna stop using Amazon.
So we have to speak about that. Is it like hypocrisy, or is it just the reality of life?
It is a reality of life.
Because we have stories where they have said, for example, with Apple, they say they get the gold or whatever that they use in Congo. They take advantage of the kids who they used to mine. But Apple right now is the most valued company, like in the world. It's at like 1 trillion?
Yes.
That is huge, We have Amazon, where the workers are always complaining, we're not treated right, Amazon care, this. But come on, how else are you going to get the things you need? So
now, I do understand the need for some of these products, because we're not going to say that, I wouldn't buy bread from these people. Probably it's the only bread in your local shop. So there's also the practical side of things where you probably want to use an iPhone because it's the best device according to your preference or your needs. And then there's also the ethical issue of, why should I support a brand that doesn't, represent the needs of the people that make them money. So it's upon us now, can we create disruptive solutions that solve those things? Because a lot of the times you see people either through tech, through businesses, entrepreneurs, maybe that's why the whole thing, buy local or buy sustainable or things of that nature. Those are some of the solutions people are trying to solve with these monopolies that now, we're like, we're big. There's really not much you could do to
okay, that might be very hard when it comes to very important things that we need, like mobile phones. We still haven't reached a place.
You will still buy an iPhone.
We still haven't reached a place where we have, like, let's say, a company right here in Africa making a very good
What
smartphone.
are you talking about, a company? We don't even have an Apple store.
Now see.
In Kenya.
Are you for real? No, we do.
But they're not like official Apple stores. They're outliers or resellers. So you see that's the thing also that people are complaining. Because I remember when Spotify came to Kenya, and guys were like, so now you people realize we do listen to music.
You see?
Things of that nature. And you'd hear people say, no, I'm still going to listen to Apple Music because, we'd still have Apple Music in Africa. So there's this whole wave of Africa is there, untapped market. For example,
Showmax came here. I don't know if they have actual offices, but they have done a lot of promo for Kenyan content. They're trying to get a lot of Kenyan films on their platform. So I guess that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Now, I would understand why maybe a creator would want to stream on something like Netflix because traffic numbers and things of that nature. But man, we should also try and diversify. Support these businesses that have been represented. Because, Showmax is more centered towards local talent.
Yeah.
Which is something I would definitely subscribe to. I'm very big for, I want to watch African stories, told by stories, produced by Africans.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Netflix or streaming your work on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I would just want to see an ecosystem where
Where
we could
a lot
also,
of, because with Netflix also there's like a whole thing that you have to go through to get your film there.
Leave alone the getting your film there.
Yeah.
To get like suggestions for African stuff,
It's a lot, yeah?
It's a lot.
But one of the companies that I think would actually help us, with this discussion is Jumia. For example, they have actually tried to be that guy for Africa, that one online shopping platform for Africa. And they have a few issues here and there, but honestly, I am a fan of Jumia, I really haven't experienced some of the things people go through, but I'm not saying that they don't go through it.
But you see, it's not like you wouldn't experience the same things with Amazon, because I've also experienced the same things with Amazon.
I feel like people should be really supportive of Jumia because usually what happens
I'm not going to really promote Jumia
we're
or
not
Amazon.
Promoting, but we're saying when back home, when someone tries to do something, we are very critical of them.
Yes.
We don't give them the benefit of the doubt. You are like pro Amazon, pro this, but they also make mistakes.
Yes.
So people have been so hard on Jumia, and yet
it's the perception with African brands.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we're only going to subscribe to African brands for two things.
Yeah.
They give you like that nature safari experience,
Bro.
or that beach touristy
like
thing.
it's either Mombasa or the national park.
or the national park. But like when you get brands that are maybe offering you clothes, or production for your videos, there's already a negative connotation to things attached to an African brand. And it's funny because like from the business perspective of where I sit, every other foreigner is trying to come to the African market. This is an unsaturated market, and we're so diverse, so there's so many things you could do and pursue.
And yet over here it's like a problem.
But it also has to start with how do we also view ourselves as Africans, like we kind of have to appreciate the value we bring to the table.
Appreciating ourselves more, our content creators. Like that has been a conversation that almost everyone has all the time.
True.
Moving on, content creation is not a hobby anymore. It's actually a serious business right now. It's a source of livelihood for many. People have realized how to monetize their attention that they gather through social circles. So what exactly would you have to say about this huge uptick in the creator business?
I think you can do content creation as a full-time job.
Really?
I think you can, but let me lay the context here. The you can is very important. It's very emphasis on that. But it is also important for you to understand where you are in life. If you are in a space where you need steady income to sustain you, you are better placed having a side job that gives you money that facilitates your content creation. Once you've built enough traffic and traction to get brands working with you, once it starts paying,
close to what you're earning,
then you can make the transition and go full on. Now, I know people say, but you gotta take risks.
You gotta go for your dreams.
Go all in. Go all in if you know you have a house to sleep in. Don't be sleeping in the streets in the name of content creation. So I think you can do it as a full-time job. You just have to do it in a really strategic way. You can't just jump and you're like, I've decided I'm tired of this office. I'm
just gonna start making reels.
Cheers guys. You can't really do it like that. You have to like kind of plan it out. And I'm also speaking for someone who's in the content creation space, and I also have like a personal career. So unlike most people, I don't hate what I do, because most people hate what they do.
Most people have that whole
a lot of people is like, I don't really like what I do, so I'm just gonna start making content, So I really love what I do. I'm passionate about things environment. I am in for learning. I would want your job, I would want to teach even. So most people don't have that experience, because not everyone was allowed the opportunity to make a conscious decision of what to pursue or what to pursue. But I also recognize that my voice, my ideas, my ideologies are things that I also value, and I could make money off it. So for me, it is a part-time
thing. There is no reason to hate one thing in favor of another.
If you find a balance to do both of them, well and good. If you get to the place where you can do a full-on switch, jump on it.
Yeah. And then lastly, something that I've also noticed is that consumers nowadays prefer individual voices over branded content. People don't find value in polished pieces created for the masses. They prefer stories. They love to hear a raw, powerful story from someone like them. You have spoken about this before. I don't know whether it was on air or off air, but you have spoken about this before.
How am I going to explain this? So you come here with your products from your brand and you're like, it really worked well for my skin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know you. You've always had good skin. Why are you lying to us? You've always had good skin.
Let's not even go into that whole era.
So it's different if I met a creator who showed us the journey of maybe dealing with acne and they were like, these are all the products I tried, this is how I reacted to it, this is what what happened, and this is what, according to my experience,
and the timeline
I would recommend
is realistic,
and
the timeline skincare takes like 3 to 6 months, even to a year. You know, like, we need to talk about this because...
So I have my soaps, or like I have my bath things, or like my skincare things. I send them to you, and they're like, guys, an unpackaging video, and it's okay, it's allowed.
Okay, it's
but
allowed.
Can we have a post of, so how do those products work for you? Because if it's a marketing,
you have clear skin already, so...
It's exactly what I'm saying. Like, most people,
it's like
most people want to relate with true content. Like, I don't want to use your products just because you got a pretty face to
for example, I have
them.
the perfect body, let's say, right? But I am you guys, it was right. But then let's give an example. I'm an influencer. I already have the dream body, but I have the supplement companies. I have a certain gym that has me like creating content. But
the green
tea that they say works, but I promise it doesn't. So how exactly am I supposed to believe that these nutrients, this meal plan, this gym plan, the green tea works, when for the last 6 months before you introduced this brand, in my eyes,
your body was already fire. I think it also just comes down to, because, you know, as a creator, you also have a choice as a consumer to either consume or believe this thing. It's the same way, like, people...
It's like a money thing.
It's like people who ideally by society would be termed as fat and used to embrace it and, you know, body positivity, which I am for, guys. And then they decided to lose weight, and everyone was like, I'm feeling cheated here. You know?
Like, you had
you
me really believing.
You know, you had me believing that, you know, where a man is okay. So it also calls upon consumers. You have to make conscious decisions with who you follow and the choices and how they inform your choices.
But how about...
If you know that you're not okay being overweight, as a consumer, just because
be realistic about it.
Be realistic
Don't
about
post
it.
the whole body positivity and then go lose weight, because it's like, oh, so you wanted to you could have just been like, oh, I love my body, but I would really, really love
And also, guys, this is not to say that we creators need to be a specific
This is just
way.
an open conversation,
like,
guys.
You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to change your perception and loving of different things. But as a consumer, you need to get to the place where you are comfortable with making choices that don't align with your favorite celebrities.
For example, speaking about this whole body thing, I don't know if you follow this influencer named Yami Mami. Now she's like Murunji. Okay, Murunji is her name. I don't know if you know her.
You've been mentioning people in this station. Woo!
We are not mentioning them for any other reason, just to further the conversation. So please, whenever you hear your name mentioned, please just understand we're just trying to further the conversation. She last week had like a lipo surgery, where she actually went for liposuction and got the fat removed, and now she's like at the body size she wants. And it was trending. It was trending for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, in the African setting, there was judgment for lipo. You know, Africans believe you should get the herbs, you know, you should go through the organic, traditional way of losing weight. So there was first the judgment for going through the surgical method, which is lipo. And then, of course, there was also that whole thing of, like, you know, if you have been talking about body positivity, so why did you do that? You know?
So this is where the problem comes when you align your values with the people you follow on the internet. You also need to realize a lot of these things are malleable. So I will tell you today I'm pro organic working out. And then I'm lazy. I try and I don't do it and it doesn't work.
Because they're humans at the end of the day.
And this doesn't necessarily refer to this person in specific.
Yeah, it's a general thing.
understanding that how people choose to live their own lives should not inform your choices.
Oh,
It should
yeah.
not.
I think that's
It should not inform your choices,
Yeah,
you know,
I think
because
so.
as I've said, I'm on a different journey, which is so
Yeah.
different from you.
Yeah.
So if you know that at your health, your weight is like, you know, a risk to your health,
Yeah.
do something about it. Don't wait
Yeah.
for your creator to come and tell you, hey, work out, or like
Yeah.
do something. And also values are so different. So if someone is okay with plastic surgery and you're not,
Yeah.
that's also allowed.
I think what you've really said about doing what works for you is very important. Consumers just tend to just, you know, you put this person on a pedestal and
It's the parasocial thing I was telling you. Like,
Yeah.
we have an attachment to celebrities that
like
is
let
toxic.
them be, you know, like
Aside from also letting them be, can you have your own life too?
oh, yeah.
Because as much as we like to escape and live through other people,
Yeah.
hey, don't forget to be in your own life too. So
No
that
wonder
when,
when this thing
when things don't go wrong for them, you know, like we see people break up and someone is so
Ooh.
distraught. I'm like, were we the three of us in this relationship?
Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand. But anyway, just to come back to what we're speaking about, the whole people preferring real stories, raw stories, you know, they don't want this whole polished pieces of information.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think caused that, you know? Is it just like a human aspect, you know, COVID happened, I saw so many brands started doing COVID related themes in there. It was so crazy during that COVID time, you know, the way brands switched to those human, you know, wear your mask type of stories.
I mean, that will always happen. That's not going anywhere. Because
Yeah.
even me as a brand, I will definitely jump on that. You know, if it allows me to
Yeah, it's just a
connect
job,
to my
you know?
audience.
Yeah.
I think it's for us to take time to be more aware.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be conscious consumers, whether of content, products, of brands.
Yeah.
Take your time, do your due diligence. If they worked with other content creators, see what their experience was with the other content creators.
Yeah.
DM them, ask them, hey baby, yo kweli, outside social media.
Yeah.
How was this
How was
product?
it?
You know,
Yeah.
and also make your own personal you know, evaluation.
stuff,
You know,
yeah.
was it working? Yeah.
And finally, as we wrap up this conversation, would you say we are in the creator economy?
We definitely are.
Or are we just entering it? Because
Maybe in the African space we'd say we're just entering, but like in terms of where globally things are.
like in America, they definitely went into the creator
I
economy.
love how we
full
always
force.
refer to America, but anyway.
We have no choice. They sort of
True.
yeah.
They kind of have set the pace.
They have set the
I
pace
think-
for a lot of things.
What I would call back to the African content is, can we have laws and regulation that also promote the creator space to thrive?
Yeah.
That is whether royalties, payments,
But don't you think these laws could work against us at a certain point? Because the whole creator space right now is working because there are no laws, you know? If laws came in, they would...
No. Like, laws actually work for the creation space. Because think about it.
Yeah.
Why are creators being called to gigs and not being paid, and there's really nothing much being followed up for?
Yeah.
One is
and
they're
you can't
not...
demand for this money.
One, they're not legally empowered to understand, you know, when you get into these areas, you know,
Yeah.
what contracts align,
Oh, yeah,
what
the
is
contract.
copyright, what is
Yeah.
a copyright related,
Yeah.
you know, how do you negotiate for such things,
Yeah.
what are the terms in which you're sharing content
Yeah.
or co-owning, or,
Yeah.
you know, if you worked with brands, what are some of the things you should know before starting to work with them, you know? All these are things that if we empowered people legally and also on a business perspective,
Yeah.
would allow the space to thrive. And I also think the reason why I'm also saying that let me not call it regulation.
Regulations. It
'Cause
sounds
there's
a
always,
bit, yeah.
there's always some negative connotation
Yeah,
with regulation.
yeah.
On the legal perspective, or even on the business perspective, I
Yeah.
think governments can do more to boost the creative space, whether it's creating hubs, creating
yeah.
centers, giving resources, training centers. They sound like a cliche politician thing to say,
But they actually
but
could
they
help.
could actually
Like
help.
what
Think
YouTube
about
is doing with
think
the
about
Black Voices.
footballers.
Yeah.
How many football academies do you know of in Kenya?
I don't know any.
Yeah, how many proper stadiums do we have? So this is ways in which the
Yeah.
government can set up infrastructure for creatives to thrive.
Yeah. So basically, like when it comes to Nairobi, we are just sort of entering the creator economy.
Let me say Africa, let me not just narrow
Nairobi.
it down to Nairobi alone.
Yeah.
We are kind of entering the creator space, and it's picking up real fast.
Yeah.
So
and I think it's just evolving, you know.
Yeah,
we
it
will
is.
evolve as it evolves because
Yes.
you know we didn't have TikTok a few years ago and now it's in the game.
and
So-
also remember, as it evolves, some of these platforms die.
yeah.
So
But kudos to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for for really sticking it out because
for
hey,
quite a long time. Because if
Yeah.
you remember MySpace, Whew, and Tumblr.
You feel like
This was
they
back in the
actually-
day before Pinterest was Pinterest.
Exactly.
Tumblr
So
was the
kudos to
thing.
this, and especially when it comes to IG, I like how they're very quick.
Yes.
You know, when Snapchat came, they realized people started liking the whole shorts,
yeah.
so they did the stories.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I like how they're quick to jump. Anyway, thank you again for coming on the show, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
Sure thing.